All right, so welcome back to Bold Beginnings, and this is Jennifer, and she is going to share with us how her family went on their journey to being more self-sufficient. So, Jennifer, thank you for joining us today. First of all, I want you to tell me about you. Were you raised in a self-sufficiency minded family, or tell me about your background and how you came to be where you are today?
I was. My mom is ahead of her time. She was always warning us about don't use Teflon pans, don't use fluoride toothpaste, don't take the fluoride at school. Just all these things that most people don't really research. I was raised mostly in the country, and I just love the country life. When we got married, we lived in the city. And my husband always said, I'm not a farmer. We'd look at different houses, and like one of them in particular had a barn, and he said, I wouldn't know what to do with a barn. It's not useful. It's, like for cars or whatever, like he loves cars. So, somehow throughout our marriage, he changed his mind, and we found this place on Craigslist of all
Oh my goodness.
places.
Wow.
Yeah. It was a hoarder house. We could see its potential, and we've done a lot of work in 5 years. We have about 15 acres.
Wow. Wait, what state are you in that you can buy 15 acres?
Minnesota.
Oh, Minnesota. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. We had a long, hard winter, but now it's finally summer and it is hot.
Now, I noticed, I met you through Instagram, and I noticed that you have sheep. And what other animals do you have?
We have chickens, 2 ducks, a dog, and right now we have 8 cats because one of the cats had kittens. So
Wow. Oh, that's a lot of cats. So,
yes.
so your meat animals would be, I'm guessing, chickens?
No, we only have the chickens for eggs.
Okay.
And our meat animals are the sheep.
Oh, okay. Okay. And how did you learn how to do that?
We jumped right into it. We didn't know a thing about sheep.
Wow.
We just bought this property. It has a beautiful barn, and we thought we should put something in it. So the kids, we have 3 kids. When we moved here, they were 18, 16, and 15. So they were all still at home, but they've all since moved out.
Right.
So we discussed what animals we might like, and the kids wanted goats because, baby goats are the cutest thing ever. But my husband was adamant, we are not going to have goats. They're going to chew everything in sight. And
Right.
So goats were out. We weren't really ready for cows or some bigger animal like that. We happened to be at a county fair, and we saw these sheep with a girl of about 12 or 13 with them. And we started asking her questions, and she said, oh, my dad is right over there, and you can ask him too. And we were just so interested. And he said, well, if you want some, you could buy some from me. So we just kind of looked at each other and said, okay.
Okay. How many did you buy?
We bought 6 at the time, 6 ewes.
That's just jumping right into it, isn't it?
It sure is. So we had these ewes we had them for a year, and then we decided we should breed them. So then we bought a ram, and his name is Clarence. He's a beautiful boy. He's got these great big horns,
Is he nice or aggressive?
If you're outside of his fence, he is so nice.
Okay.
He just wants to be petted and talked to. But if you're inside of his fence, he will knock you down. And
oh, wow. Yes, I had that experience when I was a child. We went to Yogi Bear Park. I don't know if you're familiar with those. They had them, I don't know, 30 plus years ago. And one of the rams was supposed to be tied up to a tree, but he got loose and he chased me all around. And that was the most terrifying experience as an 8-year-old.
I would be terrified now. actually. I
As big as
love
me.
Clarence. As long as he's in his fence, we are good pals,
Okay.
but I'm not going to get in there with him. But
Right.
so the first year we put our ewes all, we put him in with the ewes, and I didn't know, like, we are so new at this. We don't know that there's you can buy a harness that makes a mark on the back of the ewe so you know if she's been bred or not.
Oh,
And
wow.
you're supposed
Okay.
to change the color after, like, I don't know, 14 days or something.
The
So then
color of what?
the color of his marking that's on the bottom of his
Oh,
harness.
oh.
So then if he tries to mark her again,
Hmm.
I don't even know. We don't do it that way. We
Okay.
just put him in there and thought, I hope it works.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we really had no idea. We put them together it was October 31st.
Hmm.
And we left him in there until January 2nd or something, not knowing that you're only supposed to leave them together for, I don't know, 28 days or some. There are very exact sciences with this, and we don't know any of that. We just
The youths were like, "We're pregnant already. Get him out of here."
probably. It was just all a big surprise. We ended up with, I think, 11 lambs.
Oh, okay. How
So
many lambs do sheep usually have each time? Is it usually one or more?
usually the Shetlands will have twins, but
Okay.
now that I know my sheep, I know which ones will probably only have a single, which ones will have twins, which ones are good mothers, which ones are terrible mothers, which they will not be bred again.
Okay. Question. What
So,
makes a
yeah.
terrible mommy sheep?
Oh, goodness. We only had this experience one time, and I don't want to repeat it. Her name is Ida May.
Okay,
So
that's cute.
Ida May is the first year she had twins,
Mhm.
and we didn't. So this breed of sheep, they're Shetland sheep. They're a heritage breed. They're slow growing. They're a smaller animal.
Hmm.
Um, and they're very hardy. They don't need help lambing or anything like that. She had one live lamb and one that was dead.
Hmm.
And he thought what probably happened is it looked like it was born in the sack, and she just didn't get around to, like, cleaning it off, so it suffocated in the sack.
Hmm.
So that was sad, and we thought, oh, that's too bad. And
Hmm.
then the next year, um, we bred her, and she had twins again. And one of the babies, the little baby girl, got into the other pen. We have separate, what we call maternity pens. Just
Okay.
when they're having their lambs, we like to keep them separate just for a few days so they can bond and nurse and not have the other sheep around. So this little lamb got into the other pen somehow, and I don't know if then Ida May rejected her because maybe she smelled like the other mother or something, but
Hmm.
she would not take her back.
Oh.
So she loved her little boy lamb. She'd nurse him all day long, but as soon as the
Hmm.
little girl wanted to nurse, she was kicking her off. She'd headbutt her, and um, I was determined that
Hmm.
Ida May was going to nurse her lamb.
Oh. How do you force that?
Well, I looked on YouTube because that's where we learn our things.
Okay.
And they said that it can be possible if
Hmm.
you just keep them together for at least a week and go out there every 2 to 3 hours and, like, put the lamb on the ewe. It's not that easy.
I imagine.
Even if you tie the ewe up like in a stanchion. So we built a stanchion, we put grain right in front of her, hoping that would distract her, while then we let the little baby nurse, and nope,
Hmm.
she was not having it. She just knew she would kick her off. And so I resorted to flopping the ewe on her side and holding her down,
Oh, wow.
and then grab the lamb and get her. And she could nurse then, but it was
Okay.
so dangerous because
Yeah.
item A is pretty strong, and she'd start kicking, and anyway.
Were you injured? Did anything happen with you? Did you get bruises?
My yes, my
Oh,
nylons got ripped, ripped a
oh,
hole. What was I doing in the barn with nylons?
I
I'm
was
not
just
sure, but
thinking, you wear nylons on a farm? You are a classy lady.
it was time to feed the lamb, and I
Okay.
just was like, here we go. So
Wow.
yeah, so I
Okay.
eventually got frustrated enough that I just decided, okay, fine, we're just gonna bottle feed, and so we'd go out every 2 to 3 hours through the night.
Hmm.
My husband watched YouTube one night. Again, I was working, and he came up with a formula to feed the lamb. So it was like whole milk, a can of evaporated milk, an egg, and some cream, I think. And just
Okay.
mix them all together and make this big batch, and then you pour some of it into a bottle to feed her.
Hmm.
So we named the little lamb Rachel,
Oh.
and it was the best. It turned into the best experience to bottle
Okay.
feed a lamb, and we bottle fed her far longer than probably was recommended, but it was just
Understandable. I'm still nursing my
so
3-year-old.
fun. Yes. And
Okay.
we would kind of fight about who gets to go feed Rachel now.
Oh,
So she knows she's a sheep. For a while, she thought she was a person or something.
yeah.
But anyway, we will not breed item A again because of that experience.
Right, right. Now, so you have, at this point, how many lambs do you have? And multiplied quite a bit.
So the first year we had 11, the second year we had 11. We ended up with 29 sheep. We
Wow.
started with the 7 ewes, bought one ram, and he came with a wether, and a wether is a castrated ram.
Why would you have
So
that?
they said that the ram, they're a very social animal, so they
Oh,
like to
okay.
have a friend. And when Clarence is by himself,
Hmm.
he, however, he it didn't go as planned. He didn't like Willie. That's
Oh,
what we named the other one. So
yeah.
I don't know if he saw Willie as competition or what, but we decided, okay, you can't be together. So Clarence has his own little pen. But during the day, all that separates them is a wire fence. So
Okay.
I mean, he seems pretty happy. Then
So,
this
go
year
on.
was the first time we um, sent some off to the butcher.
Okay.
So we butchered 8 this
Mm.
spring. So then we were down to 21. One of the ewes was bred. We tried to breed 2, but it didn't stick. So one was bred. She had twin lambs. So now we have 23.
Oh, wow. So 8, that seems like a lot of meat. Did you sell any of that or was it all for your family?
So I have sold some
Okay. Now,
because
do you usually butcher the lambs or the adults? Because I know,
usually the lambs.
okay, okay.
So the one that was older was Willie. We loved him. He was,
The castrated ram,
anyway,
that one?
yes,
Oh, so he
yes,
was butchered.
yeah. So I actually did thought about having a dairy cow for a while too.
Yeah.
It was my dream for a while, but I kind of gave up on that because I just can't do it all.
Of course.
But the just the thought of having my own source of raw milk was so tempting
Yes.
because I don't even know where to find raw milk around here. I think it's illegal to buy
Yeah.
or sell or
Yeah.
something. So
Okay. Okay. Now, I've heard of goat milk, but I don't really hear people drinking sheep milk. Is there a reason for that?
you can. and I
Okay.
wanted to.
Okay.
However, their teats are about this long, so there's really not very much to grab.
Yeah.
And I did try when I was
Oh,
gonna bottle feed Rachel. I thought, well, if I
yes.
could use the mother's milk, so I tried to milk Ida May. Didn't go
Mm.
well.
Oh, like
And
I
after
covered
about
her.
5 minutes, I had like this much in the bottom of the bottle, and I thought, okay,
Oh.
it's not working. So, but there is sheep cheese.
All right. So they do make sheep cheese, but it
Yes,
seems like from what you've shared, it's too difficult, like too much trouble for you to go through that, right?
yes,
I noticed you are trying to spin. Is that
yes,
wool? Are you trying to
yes,
make thread? Is that what you're doing?
yes,
With
yarn.
like
Yep,
yarn. Okay. Okay. So is that from your own sheep?
it is. Yeah. So
Wow.
the reel that you saw, it was probably this bright green
I saw two.
yarn.
Yes.
That okay. So that was not from my sheep. That's just a commercial. I don't even know if it's wool. It's a commercial fiber
Okay.
that my friend gave me to practice with. And then once I was comfortable with that, then I moved on to my actual wool, my
And
own.
I see
So
that you have this,
that is a ton of.
I see you have this beautiful spinning wheel. It looks like right out of Sleeping Beauty. Where did you get
Oh
that?
yes. Yeah. It's actually well that it's not technically mine yet.
Okay.
It's my friend's.
Oh,
She has, I think, two spinning wheels. Ever since Erin got wool from me, she taught herself how to knit, crochet, weave, spin. She bought a knitting machine and learned how to use that.
wow.
And so she bought her own spinning wheels, two different ones. She has taught me. I already knew how to knit and crochet, but I've never done it with my very own wool. So
Okay.
it's opened up a new world for me. So
Wow.
it's her spinning wheel. She said if I want to. I've been using it, and I'm actually not sure if I'm going to buy it because it's so much work.
How
It
long does it
takes a lot of
take
commitment.
if you're gonna make,
Well,
I don't even know.
if you're starting from the raw wool,
Mm.
which has just been sheared off the sheep, it's full of hay, bits of, grass, straw, BM. So you have to wash the fleece, then you have to comb it and get all the little bits out, comb it by hand, and then you have to make the roving, so put it through the hackle. I made 6 little rovings. It took 2 or 3 days. If I were to spin that, I could probably spin it in like a half hour, and
The
it wouldn't be
rovings,
enough for a
what does
pot
that
holder.
mean? Oh my gosh. Ah,
The
that's
roving, I know it's a lot. The roving is when all the fibers have been combed into the same direction
mhm.
and then made into, it looks like a really thick yarn. It's
Mm,
it's like this thick, and then when
mm.
you spin it, you pull it and make it thinner and it twists. So
So in order to make that, you have to clean it and dry it, I assume, in the sun, you would dry it.
mhm, mhm.
How long do
Yes,
you need to dry it
it
for?
takes a. I just washed one the other day, and I think it took like 3 days to dry outside.
And is that
Could be
just,
because it's so humid here.
oh yeah, yeah. Okay. So you dry it outside in the sun, and then after it's dry, you comb it all in the same direction.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
is it just one giant mass of hair, or when you shear it, do you cut it in specific sections? I don't know how to shear sheep.
I don't need we hire that done,
Okay.
and he's really good at it. When he shears the sheep, he shears it all off. It ends up like it kind of stays together.
Okay.
If you're really gentle with it, you could lay it out like it was just one big piece that came off the sheep.
Wow. Okay.
So I um I try to keep it together as much as possible
How much does it cost to hire?
because
Oh,
again,
sorry.
not that much actually,
Okay.
not that much. He he drives, I think he drives 2 hours to get here. He charges a $40 travel fee, and then
Reasonable.
he charges $3 per sheep to shear. And then he charges an extra $2 if you want their nails clipped.
Oh my goodness.
So basically $5 a sheep.
How long does it
I
take
think he
for
said
one
that we
sheep?
owed him like one sheep can take him like 10 minutes, and he's bent over the whole time. It looks like it's gonna, be really hard on your back. And he has his own sheep that he does it with. So he told us this spring, he came at 9 o'clock in the morning. So he had to leave his house at 7 o'clock in the morning. He got here at 9. He sheared 29 sheep. He was done at like 3:30 in the afternoon.
That's crazy.
And he
How old is
told us it
he?
would be like 100 and I think he's probably like 60. We paid him more than he told us because we thought, no, this is not something we can do ourselves, and you've done a great service for us. So anyway, yeah. So we have their wool, and I'm trying to come up with ways to use it. I'm kind of having fun learning things with my wool. For example, I don't know if you saw, but my friend Erin also taught me how to make what's called like a living rug or a vegan rug.
Oh
If
no,
you've ever
I
heard
missed
of
that one.
that,
Tell me about that.
it's yeah, it's so cool. It's the fleece. So this is why I try to keep it together as much as possible. So it's the whole fleece of the sheep. You wet felt the back of it.
What does that mean?
But somehow when you pour hot water over wool and agitate it, it it mats together
Oh,
and
okay. Like boiling
connects
water?
really firmly.
Ooh.
I just used water from our tap, which is it's pretty hot. So yeah, so you just pour this hot water and dish soap over it and then rub it in, and you can see it start to felt as you're doing it. But what's really amazing about it is that so I'm working on the back side of it to make it stick, hold together.
Yeah.
But the top side, like what you're gonna see, that doesn't get felted. It
Oh.
stays like an actual, like it's on the sheep. So when she showed me how to make that, I made 4 of them in like 2 days.
How big are they?
They're the size of they're probably like 3 by 4 feet, maybe.
Oh, okay. Like a small bedroom rug.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great. And I know I've seen two types of sheep hair. One is kind of curly and one is the soft, fluffy kind. What kind is this one?
Ours are more of a long, it's called the staple length, is how long each individual fiber is. Mostly fluffy. They look like cotton balls on toothpicks when
Oh,
they're
that's adorable.
walking around. They have little skinny legs and
Oh,
big puffy wool. Yeah.
oh, that's adorable. When you felt these rugs, are you going through the process
Yep.
of washing, I guess, with cold water first and getting all the stuff out and drying them, and then you felt the rug?
No, it's really interesting. So you use a raw fleece, dirty. Try to make sure that it doesn't have a lot of vegetative matter in it. When I'm felting it and pour the hot water on it, that sort of washes it too. And then once it's felted, I wash it in a tub and do several rinses until, so by the end of the process, that dirty fleece is now clean.
Oh,
Might still
okay.
have bits of hay and straw. It's called skirting the fleece. So you skirt it first and you take off any chunks that would contain the feces. Skirting, I don't know why they call it skirting. There's no tool for it. You just use your hands and remove the parts that are undesirable. So when one of our sheep passed away of natural causes, and I wanted to save her hide, so we skinned her
Hmm.
and I fleshed her. It took a couple days and I had to use a fleshing knife and like get all the extra fat and everything off. And then I had to salt that hide and let it stiffen up until I could send it off, and I sent it to a tannery, and then
Okay.
$75 to have them tan it. So it ended up being $100 plus all the time that I had put in it, plus I had to wait for them to send it back. It was like, I think it took them 7 weeks to send it back. So,
Why?
and
I guess it,
it's beautiful.
yeah.
However,
Wow.
when I can make almost the same thing, it just doesn't have the actual hide on the back of it, and I can make it in an afternoon. So, and it's
Wow.
free to me. I just use hot water and dish soap. So,
That's amazing.
yeah.
Yeah. And you're the sheep farmer and it costs you that much to have your own sheep turned into a rug, I
Yes.
guess.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. If we knew how to tan it ourselves, it wouldn't, we could do it. But I tried it on one of the hides that we had those 8 butchered this spring, and
Oh,
we
right.
thought, well, let's see what we can do with it. I might not do that again. It's tanned, but it's
Yeah.
so stiff, like
Oh,
I could probably hurt somebody with it,
oh
I
my
think.
gosh. Wow. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that sounds like such a learning curve. You started knowing nothing about sheep and then you got 6 or 7, right, at the
Yeah.
beginning, and then just
Yes. Yeah.
expanded it and became like sheep eating or lamb eating every day. You could,
Yeah.
wow. Okay, now you had mentioned you were thinking at one point about dairy milk. Would you ever consider like a
Yeah.
little bit later on saying, you know what, I'm tired of these sheep. Maybe we'll just sell them all and get a cow.
It has crossed my mind. And there was a point this past winter, it was a really long, hard winter, and I thought, I am just done with this. They're a lot of work. We clean the barn every single day
Mm,
because we let them in every night. I just don't trust leaving them out. I don't know what kind of a predator might come. So I feel better knowing that they're in the barn, but
yeah.
then they make a mess in the barn and we have to clean it every day. If we don't clean it every day, it piles up in a big hurry until there's just probably like a foot of hay, um and then to clean it out, it takes us most of the day.
Oh,
So we just take about a half hour in the morning and clean it. And as much as I enjoy it is a lot of work. And also I just kind of was feeling done with it because all of our kids have moved away. They live across the country, and
so
so
far.
there will be traveling. Yes, it is. It's very far. Last summer, all 3 kids left us. Just how it worked out. Our daughter got married and both the boys left. And so we were sudden empty nesters. So my daughter is married and she's going to have her first baby. So we're going to be grandparents. And I just didn't have time for these sheep anymore, but we're still plugging along.
Oh, congratulations. That's so exciting to have your
Thank you.
first
It
grandchild.
is.
So sheep is rewarding, but it's a lot of work.
It is. Yes. I'm glad we did it,
Mm.
and we might not do it forever, but um for now it's part of our story. So
Before the sheep keeping, had you ever butchered and like killed an animal for meat yourself?
my husband deer hunts. So
Okay.
that's, so he had, gutted deer in the field and things like that. So we had intended to butcher these sheep ourselves, but when it really came down to it, take a lot of time. And also we've had these sheep for a couple years. They've been named, which is a bad idea. I know.
I know.
He still thought he could do it. And I just thought, no, we hired a butcher and I think it was the best choice.
That's good. Yeah, that's the main thing I was
he knows.
thinking, because I noticed you give them all names and you're raising them and, you know, interacting with them daily. And I thought, oh, I don't know if I would have the heart to actually kill them for food.
Yeah.
I know that's the cycle of life, but just personally doing it sounds very difficult.
Yes, and I've just had to tell myself this is their purpose here. They live a really good life. They're very loved here, and then they go on to fulfill their purpose.
That's just amazing. And so you have sheep, which sounds like a lot of work. Wait, I want to ask, what do they eat? Do they just eat grass, or do you also have to supplement their diet with other things?
So they eat grass, and we do occasionally supplement with like a grain or alfalfa pellets, but that's mainly just so they know, like if we need to get them, you know, if they get out of the fence for any reason, they know the sound of the bucket with the grain and we can shake it and they'll come to that.
Smart.
So that's really, yeah, that's kind of the only reason we would use the grain. They're very content to eat grass.
So you do sheep, and actually most of our conversation has been about the sheep, because I really, you know, I started this podcast because I want to learn as much as possible about all the farming things, all the homesteading things. You know, we look on Instagram and we see the shiny, happy little moments. You know, you don't really see as much of the dirty stuff, because honestly, I think most people don't even want to see it. I think most people who are not, you know, farmers and country people, I think most people want to romanticize this kind of lifestyle and just think, oh, cute animals. Oh, it's all clean. Everyone's happy with their cute little, you know, traditional kind of clothing. And it's kind of just a form of entertainment, I feel, for a lot of people. They just romanticize some better life out there that's not necessarily the full truth. I'm not really seeing, how do we do it? What are the ups? What are the downs? Is it worth it to try sheep or rabbits or cows or chickens? You know, because, you know, I'm thinking about my time when I'm going to Texas, and as soon as my husband gets a green card, hopefully within the year, and I want at least an acre. I think that might be enough to get a little bit of animals, you know, maybe not a giant amount, but just for our family. And so I'm just trying to learn as much as possible. And I see that you have sheep, and you have shared with me like the real story, the real deal of what does it mean to have sheep, and given me a very clear picture of what I can go into it instead of just the shiny snapshot. So I really appreciate you just showing the realness of what does it mean to keep sheep and do all these things.
It's wonderful. I love it, but it is also a lot of work. But I really wouldn't have it any other way. You know, the gardening, the canning, I feel like an old soul. I feel like I was maybe born into the wrong decade or something. I love the old ways. I love to keep those things alive that other people might not know how to do. Like, it does take time, but it can be enjoyable too. It can be an enjoyable way to pass the time and learn something new and expand your horizons. And
you're just so interesting to talk to you. I feel, you know, you said you were born in the wrong decade, but I think you were born in exactly the right decade, because number one, you have YouTube and you can learn. YouTube hasn't been around forever. You can learn all you need to about sheep on YouTube.
That's true.
And everything else you want to learn. True. And there's been this revival of people wanting to be more self-sufficient and learn these things. And also, not to be political or anything, but I think a lot of us women are seeing that the modern feminism is not serving us well. If they choose to work at home, they're not lessening themselves, they're not living up to their potential, but they are putting so much value into the world also by all the things that can be done from the home with the family if they have children, or even in the community. And I think one of the reasons why so many people feel so lost and lonely is because they're not connecting with their communities. They're all becoming very insular, like just on these little screens that are right in front of their faces.
Right.
And so it's great. It's so great that we can have people at least in out of cities or around cities in the countryside that are bringing back these community things and these self-sufficiency things. I'm sure even though you're not surrounded by people all the time, I'm sure the people that you do connect with are more meaningful connections.
Yeah. Yep. I just love being able to feed my family the best way I know how. And that's growing a garden, that's raising sheep, canning our own food, and learning what to avoid. That is a passion.
And one other thing that's encouraging to me about your story is that you started this when your kids were already teenagers, when you had done a majority of raising them. And I have a 13, 11, and 9-year-old and a 3-year-old. And I see these other homesteader people who are in their early 20s, freshly married with a baby or something. And I'm 40. That was a long time ago for me. And I think, all that time I could have been learning and building. Is it too late? But no, it's not,
It is not too late. Yeah. We moved here when I was 41, I think. Start where you can.
Yeah, that's so inspiring, because I think that we have a lot of boldness in our 20s. We have our whole future ahead of us. Who is going to be our partner? What's going to be our profession? What's going to be our life path? But then, as you get into your 30s, you kind of are less bold because there's more risks. It's not just you.
Yeah.
It's you and your kids. It's your financial future for not just you, but also your whole family. And so you start to get a little timid about starting new things that could maybe lose money or not turn out, or am I going to regret it? So that's why I started this. I say podcast, but right now it's on YouTube. I just hope to inspire people through people like you, imparting your knowledge, imparting your wisdom to us newbies over here. And I hope that this can really spread to more and more people, so that we can all be encouraged also by your sharing. So again, thank you, Jennifer, for sharing with us today. I wish I could talk to you for like 2 more hours.
Yeah.
Well, I'll let you go. It's pretty late there.
Okay.
And let's keep in touch on Instagram.
For sure. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you, Jennifer. Bye.
Bye.